Chapter 2 The Rust-Coloured Maze. No, Chapter 2 The Rust-Coloured Mare. At first Rosa thought it was a deer. Something moved at the far edge of the meadow, half hidden in a tree line, and she froze on her rock with her math textbook open on her knees. Then it stepped into the open, and Rosa's breath caught. It was a horse, a young mare, not much bigger than a large pony, with a coat the colour of rusted iron, and a mane and tail as black as coal. She stood at the edge of the creek with her head up, ears swivelling, nostrils flared. She hadn't seen Rosa yet. Rosa sat perfectly still. She'd been around horses a few times. Birthday party pony rides, a trail ride, on vacation once, but she'd never seen anything like this. This horse wasn't wearing a saddle or a bridle. There were no fences, no barn, no owner. She was wild. The mare lowered her head to drink, and that's when Rosa noticed the limp. The horse's left front leg moved stiffly, and when she turned, Rosa could see a dark gash on her left shoulder, maybe 6 inches long, crusted with dried blood. The wound looked raw and angry. Rosa watched for 20 minutes without moving. The mare drunk? No, the mare drank, then grazed for a while, pulling at the dry grass with quick, nervous jerks of her head. Every few seconds she lifted her nose and scanned the meadow as if she expected danger from any direction. Then she limped back into the trees and was gone. Rosa practically ran down the mountain. She found her father in the barn, sorting through a box of veterinary supplies he'd shipped from Portland. "Dad, there's a horse up in the meadow, a wild one, and it's hurt." Martin looked up, his reading glasses perched on his nose. "A wild horse? You sure it's not someone's that got loose?" "It's wild. No brands, no halter marks, nothing. It has a big cut on its shoulder." Her father set down the box and took off his glasses. "Could be a Mustang. There are a few small herds in the Bitterroots. BLM manages them. Bureau of Land Management," he added, seeing Rosa's blank look. "They keep track of the wild horse populations. Sometimes they do roundups, move horses to holding facilities when the herds get too big. But this one's alone. And hurt." Martin nodded slowly. A young mare on her own with a wound like that could have been a mountain lion. They'll take a swipe at the horse, and if they're hungry enough, if the mare got separated from her herd. "Can you go up and look at her? You're a vet." "She's a wild horse, Rosa. She won't let me within 100 yards, and legally we're not supposed to interfere with them." He paused, seeing her face. "Look, if the wound isn't too deep, she might heal on her own. Horses are tough, but a lame horse alone in the mountains with winter coming." He didn't finish the sentence. Rosa stared at him. "So we just do nothing?" "I didn't say that. I said it's complicated." He put his glasses back on and returned to his box. Let me think about it." But Rosa had already made up her mind. The next morning, before the school bus came, she slipped into the barn and filled a coffee can with grain from the feed bin. She tucked it into her backpack alongside her textbooks. After school, she hiked up to the meadow and poured the grain in a small pile near the creek, about 50 yards from the tree line. Then she sat on her rock and waited. The mare didn't come that day, but the next afternoon, when Rosa hiked up, the grain was gone. She couldn't be sure it wasn't deer or elk that had eaten it. So she left another pile and this time sat closer, about 30 yards away. On the third day, the mare appeared. She came out of the trees cautiously, her ears flat, her nostrils working. She saw Rosa immediately and stopped, one front hoof raised, ready to bolt. Rosa didn't move. She barely breathed. For a long time, they just looked at each other. The mare's dark eyes were huge and liquid, full of wariness, but also something else. Curiosity, maybe, or need. The wound on her shoulder was still ugly, but it looked like it might be starting to scab over. Finally, the mare took a step toward the grain, then another. She kept her eyes on Rosa the whole time, her body tense as a coiled spring. When she reached the pile, she dropped her head and ate, fast and greedy, as if she expected the food to be snatched away. Rosa sat on her rock with tears running down her cheeks, and she didn't even know why. Chapter 3.